Hey guys, what is up? Today we're going to be talking about Numidia on the battlefield. Numidia was historically known for their Numidian cavalry, but do they hold up in Rome Total War? Is Numidia a good faction to play as? Let's find out. Hello everybody, welcome to the custom battle screen for the Numidians. Today we're going to be talking about this beautiful roster, which is really not that beautiful, and we're going to start with, of course, our friends, the peasants, the shitty peasants, the worst peasants in the world. Well, actually no, they're actually the best type of peasants. Well, the second best type of peasants. 3 attack, 3 defense, 1 charge. They have poor morale. They suck. They are not for battles, they are used for other stuff, okay? And we can talk about that in a future video. Then we have the Desert Infantry. Desert Infantry are a decent infantry unit. 7 attack, 13 defense, 3 charge. Of course they have good morale, they have good stamina. They have it all. They have combat bonus in the deserts, which gives them a +2 bonus to attack and defense if they're fighting in the desert, which means they can become a pretty decent unit if they're fighting in the deserts. Alright, so these guys are definitely a good main line to have. Well, good in the mid game. As soon as you start leaving the mid game, as soon as those better units start coming, the Desert Infantry is not going to play well. You're going to have to deal with Sacred Bands, Armored Hoplites, Legionaries, and these guys are not going to be able to withstand that. So they are pretty good as an early game unit and as the first unit of infantry of the Numidians. Then we go for the Numidian Legionaries. These guys have 7 attack, 16 defense, and 11 missile attack. It makes them for a decent evolution of the Desert Numidian, if it wasn't for the fact that they do not have the good morale trait. So I am very, very torn whether to use Desert Infantry or Numidian Legionaries. Why? These guys really don't have that good morale trait. They still have good stamina, they are well armored, but their stats are worse than a normal legionary, and of course no good morale makes them for a not very reliable infantry unit. So you'd probably want to put these guys on the flanks and not on the main battle line. Alright, then we're gonna go for the slingers. These guys are the normal slingers. I really don't have anything to say about them. Then we have the normal javelin men, the stock javelin men. I really don't have anything to say about them. And then we have the stock archers. I also don't have anything to say about them. I don't know why I did that, but I did it because they are just painfully average. You know, it's just the earliest unit of this type that you can get, you know, and the worst of them as well. So then we have the Long Shield Cavalry. Long Shield Cavalry are actually a pretty interesting cavalry unit. Of course, that they can defeat the Round Shield Cavalry, they can defeat Equites, they can defeat Barbarian Cav, they can defeat Greek Cav, because they are not the first tier of cavalry, alright? They are the second tier of cavalry, and that makes them pretty good in the early game, alright? But when you get to the late game, you have to fight those stronger cavalry units, and that is why the Numidians have the Numidian Camel Riders, which are pretty much the same thing as the Long Shield Cavalry. However, they do scare horses because they are riding on camelback, and that is pretty good. They also have the combat bonus in the desert, so if they're playing on the desert, they have that +2 bonus to attack and defense, which is pretty good. And the fact that they can scare horses makes them a great unit at running down horseman units. And they can do it decently in the deserts. Outside of the deserts, it's a little bit of luck. If you are able to attack a unit of cav with 2 or 3 units of Numidian Camel Riders, maybe you're going to be able to rout the best units, the better cavalry units. Maybe not a cataphract unit though, let's not forget about that. Then we have the generals. The generals are just like the Carthaginian ones, so I'm not even putting an image. Just like the Carthaginian ones, just like the Spanish ones, worse than the Romans, better than the Greek generals, for example. Not hard to do that, man, by the way. And then we have the Numidian cavalry. Carthage was historically known for their Numidian cavalry, mercenaries, I should say. They came from Numidia, and they were pretty good skirmishers as well as melee cav fighters, and that is not portrayed here on this game. So in Rome Total War, these guys are not the same as their historical counterparts. They are actually worse. Usually it's the other way around. So are these guys any good on the battlefield? Well, they will fill the role of the militia cavalry, however way better than them. They have 6 attacks, 8 defense, 9 missiles, and they have good stamina, good morale, fast moving. So they will be going around the battlefield at great speeds, just hurling their javelins at the enemy, and they might do a lot of damage like that. However, they don't have a lot of ammo, and then you're gonna have to charge them in. If you do charge them in, please do it at Iberian infantry or missile units. Okay, Iberian infantry has just shit, guys. That's why. Then we have the onagers. They don't have the heavy onagers, which is a shame. So this is probably better for the early game or for the mid game than the late game, but it is what it is. And then they have the mercenary war elephants, of course, elephants. They are weak to missile arrows or to fire arrows. They can run amok, so they might trample your own army or your enemy army, who knows. So they are a little bit of a gamble, but if you're able to leave them out back while you deal with the enemy archers, then you can probably bring the elephants around and turn the tide of battle easily. And I think the Numidians really need them because their infantry is good against early game units, but not against mid and late game units. Their archers are just the stock, or their missiles are just the stock missile units, so they're not really good. Any faction that has any specialization on one of the missile units will have an advantage, especially archers. And for the cavalry is exactly the same. It's like it's good for early game, but mid to late game these guys are going to be utter crap. And then we have the elephants that come to save the day, but I don't think they're able to save the day. So what tier should these guys have? What tier is Numidia? I think Numidia is a glaring, really obvious D tier, guys. Why? Because none of their branches of the military stand out. And the problem is, for example, you might have the infantry, but as soon as you fight late game infantry, which is normal in multiplayer battles, anybody will be able to defeat your infantry, your missiles, and your cav, and that is a problem, because even factions that have worse infantry, they have so much better cavalry than these guys, that they will just be able to surround the Numidians in no time by defeating their cavalry and their skirmishers, and then finally their infantry. So I really do believe Numidia D tier. I just don't think they have the units to stand in a multiplayer battle, because everybody else in the late game will have much better units than these guys have. Be them cavalry, be them infantry, or even missiles, who knows. Maybe chariots, maybe elephants. They have a unit of elephants, but I don't think it makes up for how mediocre every single branch of the military is. Infantry, missiles, and cavalry. And that is my final word, D tier. Anyway, guys, if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments below and tell me why. If you do agree with me, like the video, subscribe. If you disagree with me, also subscribe, please. That helps a lot. Kappa. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. And I have been Mr. Turd, and have a great night, guys. Or day. Or anything else. Bye-bye.
Hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitch, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much.